Millions take these 7 medications daily, yet 73% have no clue. They're the real reason behind their 3 a.m. wake-ups and groggy mornings. Is your mystery insomnia actually hiding in plain sight? You pop a pill to fix one problem, but suddenly you're staring at the ceiling at 3 a.m. wondering why sleep has abandoned you. Welcome to the hidden world of medication-induced insomnia, where your cure becomes part of the problem. Most people blame stress, caffeine, or that late-night Netflix binge for their sleepless nights. They never suspect their blood pressure medication or that innocent-looking allergy pill. The connection seems impossible. How could something meant to help you actually rob you of rest? Here's what pharmaceutical companies don't advertise. Medications mess with your sleep in sneaky ways that go far beyond what's printed on those tiny warning labels. That little white pill doesn't just target your intended problem, it travels through your bloodstream like a tourist with no map, affecting brain chemicals, hormone production, and sleep cycles you didn't even know existed. The timing of when you take medication can completely flip your sleep experience. Take the same heart medication in the morning, and you might sleep fine. Pop it at dinner time, and you're counting sheep until dawn. Your body's internal clock gets confused, unsure whether it's time to wind down or gear up for action. Then there's the labeling problem that drives doctors crazy. A medication might list restlessness or nervousness as side effects, but never mentions the word insomnia. You're left connecting dots that seem unrelated. Meanwhile, your deep sleep, that precious restorative phase where your brain clears out toxins and your muscles repair themselves, gets chopped up into fragments. Missing deep sleep creates a domino effect that reaches into every corner of your life. You wake up feeling like you've been hit by a truck, even after 8 hours in bed. Your focus becomes as scattered as leaves in the wind. Simple decisions feel overwhelming. That afternoon energy crash hits harder than a sledgehammer. But here's the kicker. Millions of Americans are walking around in this medication-induced fog without realizing what's happening. They think they're just getting older, more stressed, or developing some mysterious sleep disorder. The real culprit sits innocently in their medicine cabinet, taken faithfully every day because the doctor said so. The pharmaceutical industry has created this perfect storm where the very medications keeping you healthy during the day are sabotaging your nights. It's like having a helpful neighbor who mows your lawn but steals your mail. You're grateful for the help, but something important is definitely missing. Your doctor probably mentioned the major side effects when prescribing your medication, but sleep disruption often gets brushed aside as minor or temporary. Temporary can stretch into months or years of poor rest, affecting everything from your immune system to your relationships. The worst part, people usually don't connect their new sleep problems to medications they started weeks or months earlier. The timeline gets blurred, and the dots remain unconnected. What makes this situation even more complex is that different classes of drugs attack your sleep in completely different ways. Some medications act like espresso shots to your nervous system, while others, antidepressants, are supposed to make you feel better, right? Well, here's the plot twist nobody warns you about. These mood-lifting drugs can turn your nights into a wide-awake nightmare. SSRIs like Prozac, Zoloft, and Celexa are the usual suspects. They mess with serotonin in your brain, which sounds great for depression but terrible for sleep. Your brain gets confused about when it's time to wind down. Instead of drifting off peacefully, you're lying there at 2 a.m. wondering why your mind feels like it just chugged 3 energy drinks. The numbers are pretty wild here. Over 37 million Americans pop antidepressants regularly. That's roughly 1 in 9 people walking around potentially dealing with medication-induced insomnia. Makes you think twice about those happy pill commercials, doesn't it? But here's where it gets tricky. Not all antidepressants play by the same rules. Some are like drinking coffee at midnight, they'll wire you up completely. Others work more like a sedative and knock you out cold. Wellbutrin is notorious for keeping people buzzing with energy long past bedtime. Meanwhile, drugs like trazodone actually get prescribed specifically because they make you drowsy. The weird part is how doctors often forget to mention the sleep connection. They'll ask about your mood, your appetite, maybe some side effects. Sleep problems, that's usually an afterthought. Yet insomnia ranks as one of the most common complaints from people starting these medications. Then there's the timing game that hardly anyone talks about. Taking your morning dose of Prozac at 8 p.m. instead could be the difference between good sleep and staring at your ceiling fan all night. Your body processes these drugs differently throughout the day, but most people just follow the basic take with food instruction without thinking about their sleep schedule. Let's not forget the double whammy effect. Depression already messes with your sleep patterns. Add a medication that further disrupts your rest, and you've got a recipe for feeling worse than when you started. You're tired during the day, which makes depression symptoms stronger, which makes you need the medication more. It's like being stuck in a really annoying loop. Some people notice the sleep issues right away. Others might go weeks or months before connecting the dots between their new prescription and their sudden inability to get decent rest. Your brain is pretty good at adapting to changes, but sleep disruption, that's one area where adaptation doesn't always happen smoothly. The good news is that switching medications or adjusting doses can often fix these problems. Different antidepressants work through different pathways in your brain. What keeps you up at night on one drug might not even affect your sleep on another. But heart medications, that's a whole different category of sleep disruption. These drugs target your cardiovascular system in ways that create some pretty unexpected nighttime surprises. Depression medications aren't the only culprits keeping you tossing and turning at night. Your heart medications might be silently sabotaging your sleep in ways that'll surprise you. Beta blockers, those workhorses prescribed for high blood pressure and heart conditions, have a sneaky side effect nobody talks about. They actually block your body's natural melatonin production. Yeah, the same hormone that makes you drowsy at bedtime gets shut down by the very pills keeping your heart healthy. It's like having a bouncer at the door of sleep, turning away your natural drowsiness before it can even get started. Then there's the timing issue that doctors rarely mention. Take your beta blocker at night, and you're basically asking for insomnia. Your body's trying to wind down, but the medication is saying not tonight. Makes sense why so many people pop melatonin supplements without realizing their blood pressure meds are the real problem. Alpha blockers present a different challenge altogether. These medications don't just mess with falling asleep, they steal your REM sleep. That's the restorative phase where your brain processes emotions and memories. People taking alpha blockers often complain about feeling groggy and unfocused during the day, even after what seemed like a full night's rest. Well, they weren't really resting at all. ACE inhibitors bring their own brand of sleep disruption. Ever notice how some people develop this persistent dry cough after starting blood pressure medication? That cough doesn't take a break at bedtime. You're finally drifting off and suddenly you're hacking away at 2 a.m. But the weird part is, muscle cramps can also wake you up throughout the night. Your legs decide to throw a party just when you need them to stay still. The nightmare factor is something most patients never expect from heart medications. Beta blockers can trigger incredibly vivid, disturbing dreams that jolt you awake feeling anxious and confused. You wake up wondering if that terrifying scenario was real or just your medicated brain playing tricks. And the cruel irony, these sleep disruptions can actually raise your blood pressure, working against the very reason you're taking the medication in the first place. Poor sleep triggers stress hormones that pump up your cardiovascular system. You're medicating one problem while accidentally creating another. Let's not forget the rebound effect some people experience. Miss a dose of your heart medication and your sleep might temporarily improve, but that's dangerous territory you don't want to explore without medical supervision. The strangest part about all this is how rarely doctors connect the dots between heart medications and sleep complaints. Patients mention feeling tired, having trouble sleeping, or experiencing nightmares, and the conversation rarely circles back to their prescription bottles. Most people assume these issues are just part of getting older or dealing with stress. But here's what makes it even more complicated. Not every heart medication affects sleep the same way, and individual responses vary wildly. Some people sail through without any sleep issues, while others feel like they've been hit by a truck. Speaking of medications that pack an unexpected punch, wait until you hear what happens when stimulant medications designed to help focus and attention meet your natural sleep cycle. ADHD medications are basically legal speed. Ritalin, Adderall, Vyvanse. They're all stimulants designed to wake up your brain and keep it focused, which works great when you're trying to concentrate on math homework or sit through a boring meeting. But here's the problem, nobody talks about these drugs don't magically turn off at bedtime. Taking Adderall at 3 p.m. and expecting to fall asleep at 10 p.m. is like chugging 3 energy drinks and wondering why you're staring at the ceiling all night. The medication is still coursing through your system, keeping your brain in high alert mode when it should be winding down. And the weird part is, most people taking ADHD meds never connect their sleepless nights to that little orange pill they popped after lunch. They blame stress, caffeine, or their neighbor's barking dog. Meanwhile, their brain is literally being told to stay awake by the very medication that's supposed to help them focus better during the day. Kids and teens get hit the hardest with this problem. Studies show that children on ADHD medications report significantly more sleep troubles than those who aren't taking these drugs. We're talking about developing brains that desperately need quality sleep for growth and learning, yet the medication designed to help them succeed in school is sabotaging their rest. Then there's the timing trap that catches almost everyone. Your doctor prescribes Ritalin and mentions taking it as needed or with meals. Sounds reasonable, right? Well, that afternoon dose might help you power through your 4 p.m. presentation, but it's also going to power through your attempt at sleep 6 hours later. These stimulants can stay active in your system for up to 12 hours, depending on the specific medication and your body's metabolism. Let's not forget the rebound effect that makes everything worse. As the medication wears off, some people experience a crash that leaves them feeling more scattered and unfocused than before. This leads to taking higher doses or additional pills later in the day, creating a cycle where you need more stimulation during the day but can't turn off your brain at night. But here's what's really frustrating about this whole situation. Most doctors don't spend much time discussing sleep side effects when prescribing ADHD medications. They'll warn you about appetite suppression or potential mood changes, but the sleep disruption often gets glossed over as a minor inconvenience. For the millions of people taking these medications, it's anything but minor. The solution isn't necessarily stopping the medication. Many people genuinely need these drugs to function well during the day. Sometimes it's as simple as adjusting when you take your dose. Moving that afternoon pill to earlier in the morning can make a huge difference. Other times, switching to a shorter-acting version or lowering the dose can help your brain settle down by bedtime. What's particularly sneaky about stimulant-induced insomnia is how it compounds the original problem. ADHD symptoms get worse when you're sleep-deprived, which makes you think you need more medication, which makes your sleep worse, which makes your focus even more scattered. Of course, stimulants aren't the only medications that can leave you wired when you should be winding down. Ever wonder why your grandmother becomes a night owl every time her arthritis flares up? The culprit might be hiding in her medicine cabinet. Corticosteroids, those powerful anti-inflammatory drugs doctors love to prescribe for everything from asthma attacks to joint pain, have a sneaky side effect that nobody warns you about. They turn your brain into a caffeine-fueled race car at bedtime. These aren't your typical sleeping pills gone wrong. Steroids like prednisone, methylprednisolone, and hydrocortisone are designed to fight inflammation and calm down your immune system. But here's the twist. They also hijack your body's natural energy cycles. Your adrenal glands normally pump out cortisol in the morning to wake you up, then let it drop at night so you can sleep. Steroids basically tell your body it's morning all day long. The wired feeling hits most people within hours of taking their first dose. You know that jittery sensation you get after drinking 3 cups of coffee? That's exactly what many steroid users describe, except it can last for days. Some people report feeling like their thoughts are racing at NASCAR speeds while their body vibrates with restless energy. Sleep becomes nearly impossible. Then there's the mood roller coaster. Nobody mentions in the pharmacy pamphlet. Steroids can make you feel euphoric 1 minute and anxious the next. Add vivid, bizarre dreams to the mix, and you've got a perfect recipe for sleepless nights. One patient described dreaming she was arguing with talking furniture while riding a unicorn through a grocery store. Makes sense, right? The duration of these effects varies wildly from person to person. Some lucky folks bounce back to normal sleep within 24 hours of their last dose. Others struggle for weeks, especially if they've been on steroids for months. Your age, dosage, and how long you've been taking them all play a role in how badly your sleep gets disrupted. Let's not forget the sheer number of people dealing with this problem. Over 30 million steroid prescriptions get filled every year in the United States alone. That's roughly 1 in 10 Americans who might experience steroid-related insomnia at some point. Yet most doctors forget to mention this side effect when handing over the prescription bottle. The timing of when you take steroids makes a massive difference. Popping a prednisone tablet at 9 p.m. practically guarantees you'll be staring at the ceiling until sunrise. Taking the same dose at 7 a.m. might still affect your sleep, but usually not as dramatically. Your body has more time to process the drug before bedtime rolls around. And the weird part is how these medications affect different people. Some individuals can take high doses and sleep like babies, while others lose sleep over the smallest amount. Age seems to play a role. Older adults typically struggle more with steroid-induced insomnia than younger people. But steroids aren't the only sneaky sleep stealers lurking in your medicine cabinet. Wait until you discover what those innocent-looking cold and allergy medications are doing to your rest. Walking down the cold and flu aisle feels like navigating a pharmacy wonderland. Rows of colorful boxes promise instant relief from stuffy noses, scratchy throats, and annoying coughs. What they don't mention on those cheerful packages: many of these innocent-looking remedies can turn your bedroom into a sleepless battleground. Decongestants are the biggest sleep thieves hiding in plain sight. Pseudoephedrine and phenylephrine might clear your sinuses, but they also send your heart racing like you just downed 3 energy drinks. These ingredients work by constricting blood vessels, which reduces swelling in your nasal passages. Makes sense, right? But your cardiovascular system doesn't distinguish between your nose and the rest of your body. Your heart starts pumping faster, your blood pressure climbs, and suddenly you're staring at the ceiling at 2 a.m. wondering why you feel so wired. Then there's the confusing world of nighttime formulas. These products often contain antihistamines like diphenhydramine or doxylamine, which are supposed to make you drowsy. Sounds perfect for bedtime relief, except these medications can backfire spectacularly. Instead of peaceful sleep, you might experience what doctors call hangover effects, that groggy zombie-like feeling that lasts well into the next day. Some people get the opposite reaction entirely, becoming more alert instead of sleepy. Cough syrups present their own unique sleep challenges. Many contain dextromethorphan, which can cause vivid dreams or even mild hallucinations in higher doses. Others include alcohol, which might make you drowsy initially, but wreaks havoc on your sleep cycles later in the night. You fall asleep easily, then wake up multiple times feeling restless and unsatisfied. And here's something manufacturers rarely advertise: some cough medicines contain caffeine. Yes, caffeine, the same stuff that keeps you awake during morning meetings, is lurking in your bedtime cough remedy. The dry mouth effect deserves special mention because it's incredibly disruptive. Many cold medications reduce saliva production, leaving you feeling like you've been chewing cotton balls all night. You wake up constantly needing water, breaking your sleep cycles repeatedly. Your throat feels scratchy, which makes you cough more, which makes you reach for more medicine. It's a frustrating loop that can persist long after your original cold symptoms disappear. Allergy medications add another layer of complexity to this sleep disruption puzzle. Non-drowsy formulas containing loratadine or cetirizine can keep some people alert for hours past bedtime. Even though these second-generation antihistamines are designed to avoid drowsiness, individual reactions vary wildly. What works perfectly for your neighbor might leave you counting sheep until sunrise. The timing of when you take these medications matters enormously. Taking a decongestant at dinner time can easily keep you awake until midnight or beyond. But most people don't make this connection, they just assume their sleep problems are part of being sick. Over-the-counter doesn't mean harmless when it comes to sleep quality. These readily available medications can be just as disruptive as prescription drugs, sometimes more so because people use them so casually. Speaking of prescription medications, there's an entire category of drugs that cause sleep problems in ways most patients never expect. Cholesterol pills are everywhere. Millions of people pop their daily statin religiously, convinced they're protecting their heart. What they don't realize: these same pills might be turning their nights into a restless nightmare of muscle pain and broken sleep. Statins work by blocking an enzyme your liver uses to make cholesterol. Sounds simple enough, but here's what gets weird. That same process can mess with your muscle cells, causing aches and cramps that hit hardest when you're lying still. You know, like when you're trying to sleep. Sarah, a 62-year-old teacher, started taking Lipitor and couldn't figure out why her legs felt like she'd run a marathon every night. Her doctor never mentioned this side effect. She'd toss and turn for hours, stretching her calves and rubbing her thighs. The muscle pain wasn't severe during the day when she was moving around, but the moment she got horizontal, the discomfort kicked in full force. Then there's the brain fog connection. Poor sleep from statin-induced muscle pain creates a vicious cycle. You're tired, so you drink more coffee. More caffeine makes falling asleep even harder. Your muscles still ache, and now you're wired from too much coffee. Makes sense, right? Let's not forget about Alzheimer's medications, which create their own special brand of sleep chaos. Drugs like Donepezil are designed to boost brain chemicals that help with memory and thinking. The weird part is, these same chemicals can make your brain way too alert at bedtime. Alzheimer's treatments often increase a neurotransmitter called acetylcholine. During the day, this helps patients stay focused and remember things better. But at night, it's like having a spotlight shining directly into your brain when you're trying to dim the lights for sleep. Margaret's husband started taking Aricept for early-stage dementia. Within weeks, he was having vivid, disturbing dreams and waking up multiple times each night. The medication was helping his daytime memory, but his nights became a horror show of fragmented sleep and bizarre nightmares. His doctor had warned about nausea and dizziness, but never mentioned the sleep disruption. Well, here's the kicker. Both statins and Alzheimer's drugs hit older adults the hardest, and these are exactly the people who need quality sleep the most. Older bodies take longer to recover from poor sleep. Their immune systems suffer more. Their balance gets shakier when they're tired. The medical community rarely connects these dots during routine appointments. Your cardiologist prescribes the statin and asks about muscle pain during your next visit, but they don't ask about sleep quality. Your neurologist adjusts the Alzheimer's medication based on cognitive tests, not how well you're sleeping. And the cruel irony, poor sleep actually makes both heart disease and memory problems worse. So the very medications meant to help these conditions might be sabotaging their own effectiveness by destroying your rest. The good news is that timing adjustments can work miracles for some people. Moving certain medications to morning instead of evening, or splitting doses throughout the day, might solve the problem entirely. But before you make any changes, there's a systematic way to identify which of your medications might be the sleep thief. You're lying awake again at 2 a.m., wondering why sleep feels impossible. Your mind races through possibilities: stress, caffeine, that late-night Netflix binge. But here's what most people miss. The answer might be sitting in your medicine cabinet. Start with your medication list. Seriously, grab it right now. New sleep problems don't just appear out of nowhere. They often show up within days or weeks of starting a new prescription. Even medications you've taken for months can suddenly mess with your sleep if the dose changes or your body chemistry shifts. Timing is everything when it comes to fixing medication-induced insomnia. That blood pressure pill you take at bedtime? Try moving it to morning. Your antidepressant that makes you wired? Ask about splitting the dose or taking it earlier in the day. Sometimes the simplest change makes the biggest difference. But here's the thing, never, and I mean never, just stop taking your medication because it's affecting your sleep. That beta blocker isn't just making you restless, it's keeping your heart healthy. Going cold turkey on certain medications can be dangerous, even life-threatening. Your doctor needs to guide any changes safely. The conversation with your healthcare provider should be specific. Don't just say "I can't sleep." Tell them exactly what's happening. Are you having trouble falling asleep, or do you wake up multiple times? Do you feel exhausted despite getting enough hours? Did the sleep problem start after beginning a new medication or changing doses? Many doctors don't automatically connect sleep issues to medications unless you bring it up directly. They're focused on treating your primary condition, depression, high blood pressure, ADHD. Sleep often gets overlooked unless you make it a priority in the conversation. Ask about alternatives with fewer sleep side effects. Most conditions can be treated with different medications. If your current SSRI is keeping you up all night, maybe a different class of antidepressants would work better. If your decongestant makes you feel like you drank 10 cups of coffee, perhaps a nasal spray could replace those stimulating pills. Sometimes the solution isn't switching medications, but adding something to counteract the sleep problems. Your doctor might suggest taking melatonin if beta blockers are blocking your natural production. They could recommend a different sleep schedule if steroids make you feel wired. Keep a simple sleep diary while you're figuring this out. Note what medications you take and when, how long it takes to fall asleep, how often you wake up, and how you feel the next day. Patterns become obvious pretty quickly, and your doctor will appreciate having concrete information to work with. Don't forget about over-the-counter medications either. That allergy medicine, pain reliever, or cough syrup could be the culprit. Read labels carefully and consider whether you really need to take these daily or if you could use them more sparingly. The good news? Once you identify the problem medication, solutions often work fast. Many people see improvement within days of making changes. And the best part about solving medication-related sleep issues is that you're not just getting better rest. You're optimizing how all your treatments work together for better overall health.